What if I told you that millions of Americans are playing an impossible game of financial survival every single day? A game where the math simply doesn't add up no matter how hard they try. Imagine waking up every day knowing the math is rigged against you. That's the reality for millions of Americans fighting to survive on minimum wage. And the numbers are brutal. Welcome to Minimum Wage Survival, the Impossible Math. Today, we're going to run the numbers on what it really means to live on minimum wage in America in 2025. No politics, no opinions, just cold, hard data. The federal minimum wage stands at $7.25 per hour. It hasn't changed since 2009. That's 16 years without an increase, despite inflation driving costs up year after year. Let's create a simulation. Meet Alex, not a real person, but a composite of real minimum wage workers across America. Alex works 40 hours a week at the federal minimum wage. After taxes, roughly 15% when we factor in payroll and income taxes, Alex takes home about $12,818 annually. That's approximately $1,068 per month. Now let's see what Alex has to pay for each month. We'll use national averages, though costs vary significantly by location. Rent for a one-bedroom apartment, $1,175. Utilities, $200. Groceries, $350. Transportation, $250. Healthcare, $140. Phone plan, $40. Internet, $60. Total, $2,215 per month. Wait, that's a deficit of $1,147 every month. Alex is more than $1,000 short, and we haven't even included clothing, personal care items, any form of entertainment, savings, or emergency expenses. But people should just get roommates. Fair point, let's adjust. With two roommates in a three-bedroom apartment, Alex's rent might drop to around $600. Utilities would decrease to about $100. New total, $1,740 per month. Still impossible. And we haven't accounted for student loans, credit card debt, or childcare, which averages $1,100 per month for one child. This leaves minimum wage workers with impossible choices: skip meals or rely on food banks just to get through the week. Delay or avoid medical care because a $140 insurance premium feels like a luxury. Grind through 60 to 80 hours a week just to stay afloat. Pile on debt just to survive another month. Live in unsafe, overcrowded housing because it's the only option left. Walk miles or risk unreliable transportation to save a few dollars. Let that sink in. We're talking about millions of people facing gut-wrenching choices every single day. Not because they're lazy, but because the math just doesn't work. Let's put this in perspective. The annual shortfall for a minimum wage worker trying to live independently is approximately $13,764. That's almost as much as their entire annual income. Even in states with higher minimum wages, the math rarely works. In California, with a $16 minimum wage, a full-time worker earns about $33,280 before taxes. But the average one-bedroom apartment in California costs $1,652 per month, or $19,824 annually, consuming nearly 60% of pre-tax income. In 1968, when the minimum wage had the most purchasing power in history, it was equivalent to about $13.86 in today's dollars, nearly double the current federal minimum. If the minimum wage had kept pace with worker productivity growth since 1968, it would be over $26 per hour today. $26 times 40 hours times 52 weeks equals $54,080 monthly after taxes, approximately $3,800. At that rate, the math would actually work. This isn't about politics, it's about math. And the math shows that minimum wage in America simply doesn't add up to a livable income, regardless of how carefully you budget or how many roommates you have. No amount of skipping coffee or cutting streaming services can bridge a $1,000 monthly deficit. The numbers tell us something fundamental about our economy that can't be ignored. Over 1.1 million workers earn exactly the federal minimum wage, while tens of millions more earn just slightly above it. For them, financial survival isn't about choice. It's about impossible math. Next time you hear someone say that minimum wage jobs are just for teenagers or meant to be stepping stones, remember that 88% of minimum wage workers are adults, with an average age of 35. And for them, the numbers simply don't add up. If you want more unfiltered truth about money in America, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Drop a comment sharing your own minimum wage experience, the maths behind yours, or what topic you want me to tackle next. And if this video opened your eyes, sharing it could help someone understand what millions of Americans face. Think this was eye-opening? Wait until you see the next video where we expose weird budgeting hacks that actually work. No apps, no bullshit.